What is up, everybody? Welcome to this week's episode of the Dense Pixels podcast. I'm your host, Brad, joined by my co-host, Micah.
Hello.
Micah, have you ever just had like a damn good, just like a blissful week of video gaming and just kind of like bask in the aura of the week that was?
Yeah. Last couple of games I've been playing.
Yeah.
Really good.
That's where I'm at right now because Helldivers 2 came out. I'm going to talk about that. NextFest was this week, and I played a lot of demos and found a couple of really good ones. But I want to start with you because you were gone last week, and you didn't get a chance to talk too much about Tekken 8 the previous week, and now so you've had the game now for 2 weeks, and playing it a bunch. So tell the people why Tekken 8 is the greatest Tekken game of all time.
I think it might be. I think it might be. It's really good. It's surprisingly accessible for it to be the 8th iteration of Tekken. Tekken is a game that usually requires a lot of like legacy skill, right? Like these characters, if you've been playing them for years and years and years, you kind of have a leg up. But this time it's a little bit different with this heat system. So I guess the best way I can describe this, so the heat system is the new thing, right? And it promotes aggression, right? Like that was the big word, aggression. And yeah, the heat system, it kind of makes it feel like a very different Tekken, right? Because the way some people are implementing it, they're really taking that aggression thing to heart, right? So defensive options kind of leave me a little. It took me a while. It took me a while, and it because of all that, like the heat system's on. I got to keep going. It makes me have to play. I have to adjust my play style when someone else is in heat, right? But the heat system is basically with like one button, you can power yourself up for 10 seconds. 10 seconds is a long time in a fighting game.
Mm-hmm.
And if you are like the aggressor, that you get more time, right? As long as you're like being like moving forward, swinging, kicking, the meter doesn't go down as fast. And there are whole move sets that open once you are in this special mode. And you can do it once per round, right? Like you can do it not once per match, once per round, which is really cool.
Can it be
And
triggered?
yeah,
Can it be triggered mid-sequence, or do you have to like trigger it and then like do you have to kind of telegraph it to your
you
opponent?
can do both. You
Okay.
can there's a manual trigger, and then there are certain moves that will trigger it. And when you do, like you'll get a quick flourish, and then you'll immediately run up on your opponent to keep the pressure going. And you have a ton of different moves available to you during this mode, and or you can like cash it out for like one big move. But once you cash it out, like it's gone, right, for the rest of the round. But you can cash it out at any point, right? Like you can cash it out when you have like a sliver left, and it still does the same amount of damage. So it behooves you to kind of get in where you fit in, and then cash it out if you can. And one of the big things about heat also is that there's no chip damage in Tekken
Mm-hmm.
unless you're in heat. If you're in heat, then chip damage is amazing, especially for characters like Steve, who I play, who is a very fast hitting character. And like I can get like if I'm in heat and I'm just laying on the pressure, I can do I can do like 40% gray damage to someone blocking.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's just all chip damage. It's wild, man. It's wild. But that's the big new mechanic, right? The big new universal mechanic. Tekken has, I mean, I it's weird to say this but it's a full featured game, right? Like it's got every mode imaginable. It's got your lobbies with your little avatars. It's got all the ranked and player match and all that stuff, right? The online is solid now. When I first played it, I mean, like you couldn't get a match. You could barely get a match.
Hmm.
You could barely get a match, and it would crash. Like the entire game would crash. But that was first day jitters, I guess. Um, and it's working fine now. I have some hiccups, but the only time I really get to play is like off peak US times,
Hmm.
right? Like I play during the day when I'm working from home. Um, so it's not the smoothest connection all the time, but for the most part, like it's great. Um, it's got this like adventure mode that kind of teaches you how to play Tekken, which is really accessible. Um, it has this ridiculous story mode that is just, I mean, Jin is riding a motorcycle up buildings and then flipping off the building and throwing the motorcycle at a helicopter that his dad's on.
Hmm.
Because Jin is a fucking emo whiny baby, and I don't understand why he is the protagonist of this series. He started World War III for God's sakes. Um, but it's good for what it is. Um, they have so how Street Fighter has modern controls to
Hmm.
kind of simplify things. Tekken has this thing called simplified, like a simplified style, where when you press a button, you can switch to basically auto combos. Now it's the same ground auto combo, the same air auto combo, juggle. So it's incredibly predictable,
Hmm.
and and the indication on the other person's when you're playing and someone changes to it, you can see that they changed to it,
Hmm.
right? Like so, it's not like damn, how does this person get so good all of a sudden, right? Like no, they're using special style. And you can do it mid match, like that's wild, man. Like so, if you want to kind of like get a feel for characters that you don't normally main,
Hmm.
you can kind of use those as training wheels and then, really get back into it. Look, man, I think it might be the best Tekken game.
Yeah.
I really do. Um,
It
it,
seems to have the most traction of any Tekken game that I can recall, at least of
yeah, man.
recent memory. So
Yeah, I really love it. It's really fun. Um, Find me if you wanna try and beat me up. You can find me. I don't mind losing at Tekken. But I'm not gonna lose all the time. Let's put it that way. I read some article, some headline for an article is like, why are black people so innately good at Tekken? Like, I just found that funny. I just found that funny. Um,
isn't that true of most fighting games? Also, anyway, in general.
I mean, it depends. It depends, right? Like it depends on the person, right? Like Terrence, you get Terrence a couple hours, he'll be really good at it. But
Hmm.
like if you give Terrence a couple hours at like Smash Brothers, I think he would just like, what is this? This is dumb, right? Like
I still think he would get good at it. He just wouldn't enjoy himself. So.
yeah, he just wouldn't enjoy it, right? He just wouldn't enjoy it. It's like, this is stupid. I don't want to be a pink polyp. Um, But yeah, man, look, if you haven't played Tekken since Tekken 3,
So
um,
that's the last one that I played at length. I mean, I've dabbled. Like I played Tekken Tag when that came out, and I think I probably played like a smattering of Tekken 6 way back when. But again, like the last one that I really sat down and played was 3.
yeah, yeah, it's I think you would like it, but like don't run out to get it if you're,
Oh, I can't right now anyway. Just because you'll find out
yeah.
why in a second. 'Cause Jesus Christ.
Look, I'm very curious about this game. First of all, is this game based on the books? Because it doesn't
No.
look like what the books
Did you play?
describe.
Did you? So we're talking about Helldivers 2. Did you play the first Helldivers at all?
I did not because I thought it was based on the books, and then I looked at it and I'm
Mhm.
like, yo, this doesn't look like what I've read.
Okay,
Like,
so thematically, Helldivers is basically like Starship Troopers, the video game. Like it like completely leans into the whole like fucking jingoistic, like
fascism.
ultra militarized society, but like filled with like propaganda, like you must go soldier and spread democracy throughout the galaxy, and this that and the other shit, and like you're fighting bugs and robots and shit like that. So the first game, which came out like I want to say 8 9 years ago now at this point, was a top down cooperative shooter. It was like a twin stick shooter, but it's also like an extraction shooter. So like you would land on this area, and you and friends would kill these bugs and complete mission objectives, and then once you were done your objectives, there would be a shuttle that would come pick you up, and you had to extract out of the zone. And what's cool is that there's a meta progression across the whole game where like humanity are fighting back the evil bugs and the evil like automatons and spreading democracy and liberty throughout the galaxy, and there's literally like a galaxy map that shows like what sectors the bugs have and which sectors the robots have, and you literally like the whole community, like you're working to push them back, and like it literally has, you know, like how the percentage of the sector that's been liberated, and every mission that you do helps towards the liberation, but it's a whole, it's a communal thing. Like it's a live service game, so like everyone that plays is contributing towards this same objective essentially. And it was a good game. I didn't play much of it though. It was always one of those ones that I had on my list to check out at some point, but I've only played it a little bit. And it was a good game, but it had a very small but dedicated community. Well, the second one has come out, and they've taken that same concept, but they've put it into a third person shooter. And Micah, let me tell you, I don't think I've experienced the amount of unbridled joy that I have playing a video game that I have playing Helldivers 2 for the last several days. Dude, it's so fucking fun. Like it is just fun and stupid and silly. Like, so first of all, like if you're like me, I love the whole, you know, leaning in tongue in cheek of the whole like aesthetic that the game goes for. Like literally, like as you're on the ground, like, you know, you're laying a machine gun into these fucking insects, and you're just like eat some liberty bugs, and like is your character saying that shit and stuff like that. Like, so it's all you do is watch like the opening cinematic for the game, and you see exactly the vibe that Helldivers is going for. So that part's really fun, but the gameplay is just tremendous fun. So basically, like you can squad up with up to 4 people, and you kind of have to. You can play the mission solo, but there's like 10 difficulty levels in the game, right? And as you advance in difficulty, you get better resources and rewards from the missions. It is pretty much impossible to play on anything higher than like level 3 as a solo player, because the missions are designed for 4, and they don't scale based on how many people are playing. So you want a full contingent as much as you possibly can. But the good news is, since it's fully cooperative, everyone's like, so like I've played, you know, a ton of matches just, you know, pairing up with randos, and I'd say like 90% of the time, I've had a good experience because everyone kind of gets it. Everyone's kind of rowing together. Because that's the other thing too, is that the game has friendly fire. So you have to be you have to be very careful about that, which is not a big deal. Like it's easy enough not to shoot your teammates. The problem is that as Helldivers, like you have like an equipment loadout with like a regular weapon and a short range weapon and a special weapon, but then you also have what they call stratagems in the game, which are basically perks, right? And the way they work is you can bring up to 4 of them to a mission with you, and they kind of vary in what they do. So like you have perks that will drop like a powerful weapon that you can use, or you have a stratagem that will call down like a sentry turret or something like that. Or you have the ones that everyone likes, which is stratagems where you can call a very different amount of orbital strikes that you can call down onto the enemies, but be careful that your friends aren't in the way when when you call down the strike. Like now the game fucking tells you when there's an orbital strike incoming, so if you are in the vicinity, it's in your best interest to book it. But you know, it doesn't always work out that way. sometimes. And dude, let me tell you, like I haven't seen better looking explosions in a game ever. Like when you drop, like, you can literally like carpet bomb a section of map like in napalm, and like you just see that, and like they have nuclear weapons that you can detonate in the game. Like it's crazy. And the explosions are great. The action is so hectic. Like because there's like just bugs and coming out of everywhere. So like and what they'll do is, as you're going along completing these objectives, like they'll have what are called like bug breaches, where like they'll tunnel out of the ground and just send a swarm of bugs after you that you basically have to hunker down and take out. Obviously there's a lot of different types of enemies in the game. Like the bane of my existence right now, there's this big giant insect looking thing that's armored that just charges at you. Like it's just like a fucking rhinoceros that just like comes at you, and can send you flying if it hits you. And you have to like hit it in its ass because that's the only exposed area on it. So like you have to get the charge at you and then dive at. Oh, they have like a fucking combat dive, by the way. Like you can literally dive out of way, or you can do like the John Woo, like the stranglehold backwards dive while you're shooting somebody thing, which is fucking incredible. Like the game just makes you feel like a badass, and even when you like die for dumb reasons, like it doesn't matter. Like it's like you're just kind of laughing about it because the whole game is so fucking ridiculous, that it's just an insane amount of fun. And like the music is on point. Like the music that plays while you're, because like when you call in the shuttle to pick you up at the end of the mission, like there's a specific extraction zone you have to get to. Well, the shuttle takes 2 minutes to actually come in. So you have to basically like hold down the landing zone for 2 minutes while the shuttle's inbound. And like the music that they queue up during this, like while you're fucking like last standing this easy, is so fucking epic and on point. Like it sounds very, like an 80s action movie, like Triumph score shit. Like it's all fucking incredible. Like the way you come into missions, or when you respawn, like you literally come in like an individual drop pod that you can aim, by the way, and you can kill enemies with it. So like if you're fighting a big enemy and you die and your teammates call it a respawn, you can literally aim the pod towards the enemy and fucking kill it just by like landing on it, essentially. Like it does the Starship Trooper things where like when bugs pop up and when you find their nests, like you literally have to grenade the little fucking holes that they come out of to seal them off and stuff like that. It's such a good fucking game that absolutely gets what it's trying to accomplish, and I've just been having just stupid amounts of fun playing the game. I shared with you guys in the group, like basically me playing this game is like the fucking Hank Scorpio meme where he's just like firing the flamethrower and cackling maniacally the entire time. Like that's literally what playing Helldivers 2 is like, and it's one of those games where like when I'm not playing it, like I'm happy to watch like streams of other people playing it because it's so fun to watch people like like just because you just get dumb funny shit that can happen. Again, since there's friendly fire, like when you accidentally kill a teammate, it's funny oftentimes, like not like you can fucking lay on the ground, and like when you die from a bug, like you don't get up automatically, so you can just like lay on your side and just just fucking blast away at these fucking dudes. It is a live service game. But the live service elements are not oppressive. So like they have a battle pass in the game, but it's not actually a battle pass. Like it's just kind of how the progression system works to unlock armor upgrades and new weapons and stuff like that. And you can't pay to win in there because the way that you unlock these things is by earning medals, which you can't buy. You have to earn it through gameplay. They do have a paid one of these as well. But you can also earn credits to unlock it through gameplay. Like I've played for about 8-9 hours and I've earned half the amount of credits that I need in order to get that. Or you can use the credits. They have like a rotating selection of premium, usually I think it's all cosmetics actually that you can buy if you want to. And I it actually has my favorite one of these shops because it has like below each of the cosmetics when you select it, it has like basically Amazon reviews that are all 5 stars, but it's like in the same tone of the game where it says like this will really help you spread democracy throughout the galaxy, shit like that. Like it, like the whole game fucking just gets it. everything about it is so fun. Like the fucking, the way the mission starts and everyone like loads into their individual drop pods and you see them all like fucking hurtling towards the planet, which is the loading screen for the game. You get a fucking ship that you can name with very like propagandistic names. Like my ship's called the Magistrate of Democracy, that just fucking flies in, that you can see when you group up. It's so good. It's so good. And it's been super successful. Like so this is already on Steam the most successful PlayStation game in terms of concurrent users. Like they literally doubled what God of War had, which was the previous high game. And the team, like the poor team over there, they're so overwhelmed with how successful this game is because it released on PlayStation and PC at the same time. And so like it's had some connection issues because they did not expect as many people to play it as they were. And so like they had a server cap, I think, of like 250,000 people. And they ran into that. So they're like, all right, well, we'll increase the cap to 360,000. And that filled up in 5 minutes. And they're just like, fuck, like, we don't know. Like it's a good problem to have. But I mean, it's just like, I feel very bad for them because like they literally had to put out a blog post that are like, look, like, we've been working so hard to resolve this. Like, my team needs to go to sleep though for a little bit, and then we'll be back at it in the morning because we're trying as hard as we can. But it's cool. Like I said, it's a good problem to have, I guess, to have your game be too successful. That you're doing it. Yeah, I think I put in the notes. It's a rootin' tootin' great time. Like it's just such. Like I heard someone say that it's basically like Starship Troopers meets Platoon, because like it kind of like it really does have that like kind of like the Vietnam aspect where it's just like there's just fucking shit going on around you at all times, basically. Like there's shit in the environment that you can be damaged by. Like there's like fucking mines sometimes you just wander onto and you don't realize it, step on. Of course, when you die, it has the fucking, ragdoll physics and your fucking body parts blow off and shit like that. Like it understands exactly what it's trying to be and it's doing it very well. Very well.
That's dope, man. That's dope. I'm actually very happy to hear that. All right, I'll check it out. At first,
watch some streams of people playing it with their friends and just kind of watch. Like Giant Bomb's done a couple of good streams with it lately. I know Kind of Funny did some too. That's kind of the vibe. And even if you're solo queuing, again, the community seems decent enough that it's a fine game to solo queue as well. Or if you have like only one or two other friends that you would play with, to get the occasional rando here and there is pretty okay. Oh, and they also do this fucking goofy things like your stratagems, or when you're accessing the terminal, just be like terminals to complete objectives and stuff like that, just to make the game that much harder. And they do this on purpose because they want you to. They want to make it difficult to concentrate. Like every time you like call in a stratagem or use a terminal in the game, you have to enter in like this Mortal Kombat fatality code, basically, in order to do it. But that, like I said, it's hard to do quick. So like if you're in the middle of a gunfight and you're trying very hard to call down like an orbital strike, like it's like you got to really either have that muscle memory programmed in your hands, or you have to just like get clear for a second to do it. Which again, it works well with the game because you're supposed to feel stressed out, and you do, but. It also feels awesome when you are sitting down and about to be overwhelmed and all of a sudden the shuttle comes down, you fucking dive into the back of it, it fucking flies away, you get the triumph music. Like it's great. It's a fucking great game. This completely came out of nowhere for me. Not like I had one eye on it. I did not realize it was going to be what it is.
That's dope, man.
Yeah.
I'm doing my part.
Dude, when you get a chance, just watch the intro video for the game, because again, like it fucking nails it right on the head. There's these like little things that you find in the game, like this like this bomb will significantly decrease the chances of child dismemberment by a significant amount, like by setting it off and shit like that. So it's so silly.
I'm looking at some of these. I'm looking at some gameplay footage. Yeah, man. And if you Here's a pro tip: if you're wearing a cape and carrying a gun, you're a fascist. like that's just you. Yeah, you're spreading
That's right.
democracy all over fucking foreign
Dude,
land.
it kicks off from the get go with the training mission that they put you on. Like you're running through an obstacle course with this voiceover from like the greatest Helldiver ever, and he's like, I've never seen such beautiful liberty spreading in my in my time, like only I can do it by myself. It's so fucking good. And it's one of the rare games that I'm actually like subscribed to the subreddit, because all of the people in the subreddit also get it. So like they talk about spreading democracy. Like there's like the little blurbs that pop up on the loading screen when you're dropping in. Like there's one I saw where it's like only traitors are interested in alien bug artifacts, like stuff like that. Oh my god, it's so good. It's
Oh
so
shit,
good.
that's funny.
So very good. Well, let's take a quick ad break, and then we will be back where Micah will talk to us about Like a Dragon. All right, so Tekken 8, not the only Japanese game that you've been playing for the last several weeks.
Yeah, so as much as I like Tekken, most of my time has been playing Like a Dragon. I don't know how much time I've sunken into that game. I'm almost tempted to turn on my PlayStation to figure out how long. But yeah, I love it, man. Like I really enjoyed Like a Dragon 7, and Like a Dragon 8 is better in every way. Like just the quality of life upgrades are make it like I can't go back to the other one. And the other one's a fine game, right? Like it really is. I recommend if you haven't played it, it's probably super cheap right now. But if you want to just go in with this one, you can also. But like a Dragon 8, Infinite Wealth, like I'm at like chapter 10. I think there's like 14 or 15 chapters.
Mm-hmm.
Um, this is a love letter to all the previous Yakuza games. There are so many of these things that RGG Studios has their own Marvel style signature at the beginning of their game, right? That just shows clips of previous scenes from previous games. Um, and this game is kind of a love letter to all of it. You play as dual protagonists in this game. You play as Ichiban, and later on, spoiler alert, you get to play as Kazuma Kiryu again. And the thing with, I'm a character guy, right? Like the stories in these games are like all over the place, right? Like they're gritty dramas, but like with this weird garnish of just the most absurd and wacky comedy. I don't know how they do it,
Mm-hmm.
but they do manage it, and it's very unique in that way. Um, Ichiban is in Hawaii trying to find his long lost mother, who abandoned him when his father stuck him in a coin locker. Or not, no, I don't think his father did. I think she did. She stuck him in a coin locker
Mm-hmm.
because like she couldn't bear to like, wring his neck or whatever. It's been a while since I played Like a Dragon, but he's trying to find his long lost mother, and that sends him to Hawaii. He meets up with Kiryu, who's doing his own thing in Hawaii because he's now working for the Daidoji faction, which is like some clandestine operation, right? And and the two of them, both of their stories kind of intersect.
Mm-hmm.
So the thing with Kiryu is that Kiryu reveals that he has cancer. He has lung cancer. And part of the thing that, his friends are like, hey man, I know you're like a stoic badass and all that, but like you're still human, right? Like, and he's ready to die, right? Like he's just like, whatever, yo, I'm ready to die. And his friends don't want him to die, so they're like, hey, maybe you should do this bucket list to remind yourself that life is worth living, and you got to keep fighting, right? So you do this bucket list, right? And you go to the previous locations from all the previous games, and you can, when you get to certain areas, you can reminisce about like Kiryu's time from the previous games. Like they do it so well, and it's such a great um, uh, storytelling device for people who are long term fans of this character and this series. I'm like, oh, I remember that. Like this was like, it's really dope. It's really dope. Now, if you're a newcomer, what you need to know is this is a turn-based RPG uh, that has literally everything in it. You want turn-based battles, you got them. You want Pokemon battles. There's a,
The
a
Sojimon battles.
yeah, the Sojimon battles,
Yeah.
but like they're actual fucking people, right?
Hmm.
And they play out like Pokemon battles. You want Crazy Taxi? There's a Crazy Taxi mini game. You want to play old school Sega games? You can do that. You want to date people on a dating app for some fucking reason? Like if you want the stress of fucking dating without all of the actual physical, all that weird physical shit, there's a dating app in it. There's there's so much
There's an Animal Crossing game
there's
just
an
in the
Animal
middle.
Crossing game. Look, dude, when I got to that chapter, I forgot that I have the rest of the story that I have to go through.
Oh,
Look, I won.
you got caught in it, did you?
I got caught it. Look, I get it, man. I get it. I see why people play those type of games now because, like, it's incredibly relaxing. There's something about it, right? Like, well, no, I gotta build this, right? Because I gotta build this building, and then I gotta go grab more materials, and then I gotta go like, it's a simple loop, but it works, man. It works, and all they had to do to get me to do it was pick some hard ass Japanese gangsters to take a vacation in Hawaii to go do it. It's wild, man. Um, this game literally has everything. Like I know it's very very early,
Hmm.
but and people have said this, right? So I'm not pulling this out of my ass. This certainly is contender for RPG of the year. Maybe and this might be a game of the year contender depending on what shakes out. There's a lot going on here.
Yeah.
Um, it's got an excellent job system. The pacing at which you level your character and your jobs seems to be improved. I really like it in this game as opposed to the previous game. Um, Even little stuff, right? Like when you start a battle, you get a certain amount of walking space, and you didn't have that in the previous game. Now you can use this to your advantage by getting closer to certain enemies or getting closer to your teammates if you've been spending time with them to do combo attacks and stuff like that. Um, or you can, if you're over leveled and you see a group of enemies that pose no challenge, you can instantly take them out
Hmm.
with the press of a button. Whereas before, if you got caught, like because enemies, no matter how low level they are, they're not gonna run from you, right?
Right.
Like they're gonna chase you. But it's good for if you want to get some quick leveling, some quick cash, right? And you do a lot of walking, so it makes all that bearable. I mean, I don't know what to tell you to get you to play these games, but yeah, man, like you
It's
do
on
it. These games are really fun.
it's on my list. It's now gotten pushed down, unfortunately, because because basically 2023 is just like I'm just not going to stop. Like we're just going to fucking keep going. We're just going to keep releasing fucking banger games, in right into the new year, and straight away. Because again, we've gotten, between Tekken, Helldivers 2, Like a Dragon, fucking Pal World, Grand Blue
It's
Fantasy.
only February, yo.
Yeah,
It's only
Grand Blue
February.
Fantasy Relink caught a lot of people. by surprise. That's apparently really fucking good.
I just downloaded that demo. I'm gonna
Yep.
play it when I get back.
And Shrouded came out and apparently is like really good, even though them and Power World are basically eating from the same plate, kind of sort
And
of.
look,
And then there's another survival game coming out next week that fuck, what's it called? I can't remember what it's called. It's that Victorian styled one that looks kind of like if Ken Levine made a survival game. Like I said, I can't remember the name of it. But yeah, it's God,
and
man.
look, I mean, look, you know, we everyone knows our feelings about Final Fantasy VII, but like Final Fantasy VII is coming out at the end
Shit,
of the
I
month.
forgot that was coming out too. Like I don't give a shit about it, but like it's just still a notable release on the calendar. So.
I'm gonna play that. I'm gonna play that game. I'm gonna play that game.
There's
I like Final Fantasy VII, but
well, there's another game coming out soon as well, which we'll talk about a little bit when we get into the news. That you also might want to keep on your on your radar, in your spyglass. One might even say, Micah. So we'll see about that. Let us get into the news. Once we're done the news, I'll circle back around and talk about Steam NextFest. So, some surprising news came out last week. So, the IGN employees have announced that they are unionizing. A supermajority of editorial and creative workers voted to start a union. They have about 80 members now in this union, which makes it one of the largest unionized game journalism outlets that are out there. IGN, not the first game journalism outlet to unionize, but again, they're definitely the most notable. They're the biggest in the space, so the fact that they're even doing it in the first place is a pretty notable thing in of itself. And again, with the amount of upheaval there's been in the games media business in the past several years, this is a great fucking move.
yeah, I mean, look, I don't have a problem with unions, and this gigantic outlet doing it is a very very good thing. Um, I also don't like hate IGN. Like everyone seems to hate IGN, but like
It's because
they're
they're the
also still
biggest.
the
They're
biggest.
the biggest. That's why.
Is that it?
Yeah,
Like
that's that
they're
is
really counting
literally it.
culture?
Because since they're the biggest, they are assumed to be the most mainstream, and when you're the most mainstream, you are considered to be the least cool. So,
All right. All right. Well, look, ain't nobody gonna confuse me for a cool guy.
I mean, but look, say what you will about them, they have the most they operate as a good baseline. You know what I mean? Like if you want the bog standard, take on a game, like a good baseline
Right.
take, they're usually right there. And there's a couple outlets that usually come in over them, and there's a couple outlets that usually come in under them. But like they'll give you kind of the median point, which is
Yeah.
probably close to being the quote unquote correct one, but it's still just an
They
individual
will
reviewer.
they will dumb it down for a mass audience,
Right.
which yeah, like that's a perfect analogy. Use them as a barometer, and then find your more. They're your general practitioner.
Yeah. And then find a specialist. Yeah. There you go. And again, they've been leaning more into the actual investigative side of things. I think more with people like Rebecca Valentine that work over there, that are doing more of the shoe leather style, reporting and news in the games industry. So yeah, IGN's fine. There's nothing wrong with that.
And you need the biggest to like that's how things happen, right? All it takes is one person to do something, right? And when that person is the biggest, like when that person is the most popular, the one to actually put their foot forward and volunteer. I volunteer as tribute, right? Like then that's how dominoes fall. So yeah, good on them.
Yep. Disney has made a strategic investment into Epic Games. They have purchased a $1.5 billion stake in Epic, and they will now work with Epic Games to create new games and an entertainment universe where consumers can, quote, play, watch, shop, and engage with content, characters, and stories from Disney, Pixar, Marvel, Star Wars, Avatar, and more. I mean, obviously, this means that you can probably anticipate seeing some Disney, property characters in Fortnite. We've already seen some. I mean, I know they've done like Star Wars partnerships and Marvel partnerships and things like that. Disney has had kind of a weird up and down relationship in the games industry. Like they did have game studios for a long time. Never did really find like a mega hit in there. And so they decided, a couple years ago to take the Micah approach. Instead of actually doing it themselves, just, pay someone else to do it for you.
Yep.
And license your stuff out. Them, ponying up to Epic is interesting. It sounds like a lot of money, $1.5 billion to Disney. It's a drop in the bucket. It is kind of wild to me, and things don't work like this. So it's just the way that things work. To me, that a Fortnite partnership investment is worth, or 2.5 Fortnite partnership investments is worth 1 Star Wars, according to the math. That's the scale that we're working on right now. What do you expect to see from this? Anything that's really going to move the needle or be something we need to pay attention to?
No, not at the moment, because I looked up Epic Games' net worth as of April 2022 was $32 billion. So they're essentially buying 4%, a 4% stake, which is not enough to do anything. This is basically, hey, we will, like you said, hey, we want a piece of this, and in return, here's the X-Men. You know what I mean? Like, here is something that we bring our library of various children's products that we can synergize with you and get you more people coming in. So yeah, that's the only thing I think that will happen. You will see a bunch of Disney princesses, and a bunch of Marvel and Star Wars characters in Fortnite, and I mean, I can't think of anything. I can't think of anything else. I can't think of anything else, right? Like, because they're not going to. They have their hands in too many cookie jars for them to just be like, okay, well, let's just focus on what we got with Epic, and then maybe build up to it. Like, nah, like this is them diversifying again.
I think the biggest thing you may see from this is you may see like a Disney game within Fortnite, because Epic's doing the whole Fortnite as a game platform thing now, so I could potentially see some sort of Disney game in there. Ironically, something like Disney Dreamlight Valley, which is already a thing that exists. So like, but I could see something like that being put in there. So
I think this is the long-awaited return of the Epic Mickey franchise.
I would not hold your breath for that one.
I mean, it's Epic Mickey, it's Epic Games. They can have an Epic Mickey game, and it would do nothing.
Never forget that Epic Mickey was a result of one of the weirdest trades in the history of business, because to get the rights back for Oswald the Lucky Rabbit, I think they were owned by NBC somehow. Like Universal had the rights to Oswald the Lucky Rabbit. So in order to get them back, NBC gave them the rights back to Oswald, and in return, ABC traded Al Michaels to NBC to do so. So yes, Al Michaels was tangentially involved in the making of Epic Mickey, because that's why they wanted to get the rights back, so that they could use him as a character in the game. So a weird, bizarre thing.
I didn't know that. I didn't know
that. Micah, I regret to inform you that Izgimo is added again. So there's been some. So for first of all, shocking news: Skull and Bones actually releasing this week. Like, that game is actually coming out. Much like Suicide Squad, we didn't believe we'd ever see it, but it is going to be in your hands later on. But it's a live service game. And unlike Helldivers 2, which by the way is a $40 title with live service elements, but you can buy it brand new for $40. Skull and Bones is going to be a whole ass $70 game when it releases. And Ubisoft has faced some backlash for that. But not to worry, Micah, because Eves is here to settle everyone's worries at ease. Quote, "You will see that Skull and Bones is a full-fledged game. It's a very big game, and we feel that people will see how vast and complete the game is. So it's really a full AAA, quadruple A game that will deliver in the long run." Micah, he's just out here inventing things now. He's just making up terms.
One, I was desperately hoping you would do the French accent.
I do not do a good French accent in long sentences, so it would be incredibly offensive to anyone who's French or French Canadian that's listening to the podcast.
And two, yeah, come on, man. This company, every time I read a story about this company, I'm just like, yo, you guys are just a bunch of fucking like shysters, man, right? I mean, I don't know, man. And quadruple A. I didn't know there was a quadruple A ball.
So funnily enough, I heard this today. I didn't realize. So the AAA term, which is a meaningless term in the games industry, by the way, it's a colloquial term, but it comes from the bond industry, which uses an AA, AAA rating to show how secure savings bonds are, right? But the bond industry caps at AAA. That's why AAA was always the peak, is because a AAA bond is the highest quality bond that you can have. I guess you get to be a quadruple A game when your development time is longer than 10 years or something. I guess that's the qualifier. Because again, remember the impetus for this game, the reason this game exists, the reason they wanted to make it, is because Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag came out and had really robust ship combat mechanics, and people are like, "Wow, you can make a whole game out of this." And Ubisoft's like, "Yeah, we could. Let's fucking make a whole game out of this one element of our Assassin's Creed game." And the game has literally been in development since Black Flag came out a decade ago.
Jesus.
Longer than a decade. Fuck, when Black Flag came out in what, 2012 or something like that?
Let's find out. First of all, I think I'm the only person on the planet that does not like that ship to ship.
Oh, you are not. I remember because they first introduced it in Assassin's Creed 3. And I remember that I played a demo of the ship combat, and it turned me off from wanting to play Assassin's Creed 3. I'm like, if I have to do this,
it stinks. It stinks. It stinks. It came. The Black Flag came out in 2013.
Okay.
It stinks. I hate it. It's like Speed 2 cruise control, right? There's nothing speedy about this. There's nothing it's I hate it. I hate it. And if you like it, you're dumb. And you deserve this quadruple A game. It's also the benchmark apparently is a full featured game. It's an actual game that works. That's the bar for quadruple A game. Yeah, no, man. This was I didn't even realize this was still a thing. That's how off my radar this particular game is. If it's not Assassin's Creed, I don't even think about it anymore. And even then, they're really wearing out their welcome.
Yeah, it's really got to be something special for you to perk up and care at this point. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's with any title that they have, man. most of their big titles are incredibly formulaic, and when you do something different like Skull and Bones or whatever, um, it's not really different, right? Like, is this like a live service game?
Not apparent. Not only that, I read a preview on it today. Like, there's a preview the Eurogamer put up. Apparently, like, it's got MMO elements, but like, it hasn't solved for basic MMO problems that Warcraft solved like 15 years ago. Like the previewer was talking about how like there's a cache of items in the ocean, and I sailed toward it, and somebody got it before I did, and so like by the time I got there, like it just wasn't there. Like I had to go find a new spawn point for another cache of items to pop up because somebody came in that was also in the world and just snapped it up. Like it wasn't something, it was instanced in the world, not like instanced per player. Which again, like WoW figured out eons ago, like, hey, like, it's not fun going towards something that you think is on the map and then it not being there when you get there. And then you have to go look for it all over again. Like, that's not cool.
But that is the realism, right? Like, it was missed out. Be faster next time. Like, no, like, no. What the fuck? Like, this is not in the great pirates versus ninjas debate, it's ninjas for me every single time. 10 out of 10. I don't want to be a pirate, It seems very, very. Look, black people in boats like this with masts and sails. Nah, I will never understand any black person who wants to be a pirate. It's just not built in our history. And no, I don't want, like, this seems like a terrible concept for an MMO because like you're in this ship and you just it just feels like a slog, man.
I disagree. I think it's a fine concept for an MMO. That's why Sea of Thieves did it 6 years ago. There's like they're late. Like the game had come out when it was originally supposed to come out. Like it would be a meme at this point. You know what I mean? Like it'd probably just be what it was, and a game that we've forgotten about already. But because it's been a punchline, like much in the same way that Suicide Squad was. Like this game has an unreachable level to live up to because of how long we've been hearing about it, and it might also get the Suicide Squad benefit of getting a bigger bump than maybe it could because of lowered expectations. Like it probably won't be nearly as bad as people think it will be either. So like some people might be like, yeah, it's actually fine. Like it's okay.
It's a game.
It is.
It's no. I think the quadruple A's are going to be sandwiched in between a B and a D, because this does not look like it's good. Real quick, you brought up Suicide Squad.
I did.
I decided to. I was going to put Suicide Squad on the docket.
Oh, you bought it?
Just to get that reaction.
Why?
No, I did not.
Oh
I did
God!
not buy
Okay, Jesus
Suicide Squad.
Christ!
No, I did not buy Suicide
Lord.
Squad. I watched all the cutscenes.
Okay.
For Suicide Squad, and I don't think it's worth it, man. People are like, well, the story is, pretty good. No, I don't.
Yeah,
I don't
it's
think
over
so.
it's over in 8 hours, and then you have just a really bad live service game to contend with after that. So
Yeah, like you do. Spoiler alert. Okay, turn down for what? For the next 15 seconds. You do actually kill the Justice League, right? And
it's literally in the title. Like it's not. I don't know if it's a spoiler when it's literally the fucking subtitle
like,
for the game.
well, some people were like, "Oh, well, maybe there's some sort of weird like time trippy thing." No, you kill the Arkhamverse version of the Justice League, and then the gimmick, because they're going to introduce new characters in their roadmap or whatever. And one of them is the Joker, but like the Joker's already dead in this universe, so DC kind of popularized the whole multiverse thing. They don't get credit for it now because like Marvel did it in movies, but like DC kind of started that shit. And so they're all Elseworld characters, which is why you can bring in some of these other characters. But that story is not. I didn't think the story was that great. I think the characters were annoyingly edgy, right? Like, oh, I thought Deadshot was supposed to be white. Like, all right,
What?
all right, because the black guy's Deadshot. Okay, all right. We're the bad guy. All right, all right. I love Tara Strong, but like, please don't do Harley Quinn ever again. Like, I just, it's not the Harley Quinn I grew up with. Yeah, I wasn't impressed with the story. And that's the thing that people were like touting as the reason why this game might be of use to you. And I'm here to tell you, I don't think so. I don't think so.
All right, well, we're going to pay some bills. We'll be right back with some more news and then Next Fest. So I sadly have a section on the docket that's probably going to hang around that's just called This Week in Layoffs because, it's every week now. So this week it was Visual Concepts Austin, who are the developers of the WWE games and the and Lego 2K Drive, which came out last year, which is a big bummer. I don't think. Hang on a second. Yeah, it doesn't look like they announced how many employees were laid off, but again, hope that everyone there lands on their feet. The FTC not very happy with Microsoft right now because part of the argument that Microsoft made in wanting to acquire Activision Blizzard was that we're just going to acquire them, but they're still going to operate like their own company, and we're not going to put put our thumb on the scale or anything like that. And then of course, months later, Microsoft lays off 1,900 workers, including about 900 folks that worked for Activision Blizzard in that great number. So now the FTC is appealing to basically halt the acquisition, even though it's pretty much a done deal at this point. I don't know what more they'd be able to stop in terms of integration. I don't know if they'd be able to unwind it as well. But the FTC is really pissed off at Microsoft, and they fucking should be. So
Yeah, man. They couldn't even wait to, they couldn't even wait for the ink to dry.
yeah,
They couldn't even wait to put ink to paper to make everything official, let alone let it dry. And I mean, of course this is going to happen. Of course, right? Like it's corporate malfeasance 101, right? Like someone new comes in, they clean house, and they keep who they want.
yep.
It sucks. It really sucks.
Since we're on Microsoft as a topic, since you weren't here last week, any thoughts on the rumors or the fear, I should say? I don't even know if it's rumors or reports, but like the fear that somehow Microsoft will open the floodgates to other platforms that aren't Xbox with their
Yeah,
first party titles.
I was just about to bring that up. Look, I don't have an issue with it, but well, let me start off by saying that I have the luxury of being able to get all these things, right? I understand my privilege. Like I can just buy whatever console I want and play whatever game I want, and I know some people can't, so they make their buying choices based off of exclusives or whatever. And the idea that, oh, I could buy a PlayStation or an Xbox, but I really want to play Starfield over Spider-Man. I want to play Spider-Man, but I really want to play Starfield, so I'll buy the Xbox, and then for it to come over to the other console, you might get miffed because it's like, wow, I could have just bought this, but I mean, unfortunately, you got to chalk that up to the game, man. Like I don't necessarily have a problem with. It sounds like what they're doing is they're going the way of Sega, right? Like where if I had to venture a guess, it's rumored or whatever that they're gonna get out of the console market. Um, I get it. Uh, I Yeah, I don't have an issue with it. I think more access is better for everyone. And look, they're in the business of making money. And if it's going to make them money to have their products on multiple consoles, then yeah, they're going to do it. And I 100% understand that because as much as I rail against corporations, I want to be rich too. So
And the thing is, like,
so I get it.
I don't even think they pull entirely out of the hardware business. I think what the end game result is for them is they're going to obviously continue to put out software. I think that you see them still put out a box, but they're not going to necessarily go toe to toe with the PlayStation. Like I don't know that you'll necessarily see an Xbox, Series Next to compete with the PlayStation 6. I think that they put out like a box that's catered more towards streaming and more towards like playing your cloud games for your Xbox Live subscription, kind of like what the Series S is now. And then they also partner with like television manufacturers and things like that to get Game Pass. I mean, they're already doing that now, aren't they?
They're already doing.
Yeah,
I got a Samsung right here that has its own app, and you can stream all your games right on that
right.
television. through their
But
own app.
imagine a world where like your next TV has the Xbox like sync button on it, so you can just easily pair up your an Xbox controller with it, like that kind of thing, and then you just have like cloud gaming right there, ready to rock and roll. That I think is what Microsoft's kind of end destination is going to be, and then like I said, Sony's going to continue to put out their box. I think that they'll also move towards streaming as best they can. But
I
again, like
think they'll do what they always do. They'll be late to the party,
yeah,
and then they'll come up with the Ferrari of whatever it is, right? Like the Ferrari of handhelds, but it just won't stick. You know what I mean?
well
Like,
again, PlayStation. What the fuck is the what the fuck is that split DualShock thing called? I don't even the Portal. Like
yeah,
that's a version one, right? Like that's them, kind of like the first VR headset was, and now look at VR2, which is an amazing piece of tech and one of the best VR headsets that you can buy for that price point. It goes head to head with VR headsets that cost twice as much. Like that's the port. I think that whenever you see the next Portal, that's going to be, you know, I think you'll see like ultra low latency, like that, like much 4K, 60, like all that kind of shit. Like I think that's what you see with that one. So we'll see what happens. But apparently Microsoft's announcing the future of their games business on a podcast on Thursday this week. So stay tuned for that next week, as we'll probably talk about that. Honestly, okay,
didn't Phil put out a tweet
yeah,
kind of like Ms. McMahon? We hear you.
yeah.
The divas are coming. We're keep watching.
Yep. On to some happy news. NextFest for Steam was this past week. It ends tomorrow. As I do when NextFest comes around, I download a bunch of games that I'm interested to play. This NextFest, I think I tried about 15 different demos, give or take. And I have 4 that really stood out to me. The one that I've literally put 3 hours into over the last week for a demo is this game called Balatro. So it is probably next to Slay the Spire, my favorite roguelike deck builder that I've played. Because the way the game works is you have a regular deck of, like a 52 card deck of playing cards, right? And you're trying to make poker hands out of them. So like every turn, like you have a hand of 7 cards, You try to make the best poker hand that you can. You can discard cards to draw new ones, that kind of thing. But you want to play poker hands, and based on how good your poker hand is, you'll score a certain number of points based on the value of the cards and based on the rank of the hand that you play, right? So like that's so far so basic. Where it gets crazy is that it has all the roguelike trappings of being able to manipulate your deck and get like power-ups and stuff like that that change how the cards operate. So like you go into a shop between runs that you can spend money that you earn to buy like new cards in the deck, or buy cards that will change that you can change the suit of certain cards. So like if I have a deck that I want to be able to, play flushes really easily, like I might stumble upon an item that lets me change the suit of 3 cards randomly picked from like whatever they are to a spade, so that it increases the chances that I'll draw more spades and stuff like that. It's a really neat concept. Like it's a really it's a very interesting way to kind of approach a deck builder. I really think it's cool when people do games, because I see this in the board gaming space a lot too, where people find new and interesting things to do with regular decks of playing cards, which have been around forever. And I'm playing Balatro incessantly. It's got weird like music. The music kind of reminds me of like the music that's in Risk of Rain, and so it's kind of like a fun trance kind of music to listen to while you're playing. So it's really cool. I like it a lot. And that actually comes out next week in full release. So I'm going to pick that up instantly as soon as it comes out. The next game is a game called Gatekeeper. This is what if Risk of Rain was a top-down isometric shooter? That's Gatekeeper. Like it like the way the game lays out in terms of like the upgrades that you get and stuff like that, it is literally Risk of Rain. Like for a sec, because like even with the art style in the game, like I had to check for a second to make sure that Hoplu Games wasn't making this game, and I'm like, oh, they're making this, right? No, some other studio's making it, but that's how close it adheres to Risk of Rain in terms of its like design and in terms of its style. But it's top down. That's the difference. That's it. Like it's top down Risk of Rain. Sign me up. I'm fucking here for it. So Tales of Kenzara Zao. This is the game that was shown off at the Game Awards, where it's the game studio that's owned by the dude who played the voice of Bayek in Assassin's Creed Origins. And this is the game that's like the Metroidvania that has a lot of like African, the African theme. Yeah. So they have a little slice that you can play to check it out. I really like the movement and the combat in the game. Like I think it feels good to play. And so I'm got my eyes on it there because Prince of Persia didn't come out to Steam, and I'm not giving Ubisoft Uplay my hard-earned money for that game, and I'm gonna probably wait for it to go on sale on PlayStation. So I wanted to check this out to see if this could like scratch the same itch, and I think the building blocks are there. Where I think the game fell short a little bit is level design, because just how some of the traps are laid out in the game led to a lot of cheap deaths that I didn't particularly care for. So I'm hoping that the rest of the game is not kind of laid out that same way. But I think that the building blocks are there. It's got a really nice art style too. It's a really cool looking game, very unique looking game. So if you're a fan of Metroidvanias, that's one you should probably keep your eye on, is Tales of Kenzara Zao. And then the last game is a game called The Land Beneath Us. This is another roguelike game, of course, because it's all I fucking play. And the way it's a tactical action game, right? The way that I would describe the gameplay. Did you play Crypt of the Necrodancer at all?
No.
Okay, I know Carrie did. It's Crypt of the Necrodancer if you didn't have to follow the beat. So like every turn of the game, you are moving your character in one of the cardinal 4 directions, and all the enemies are also moving as well. And you can also see like where the enemies are going to be attacking the next turn. So having that information, you have to strategically deal with that you have a weapon equipped to each of the 4 cardinal directions. So like if an enemy is to your right and you move right, instead of moving into that space, you'll hit them with whatever weapon you have equipped in your right slot, if that makes sense. So it was I thought it was really interesting. I did not like Crypt of the Necrodancer because I found it very difficult to stay on rhythm with the game. Like it for some reason, like my brain did not sync up to be like, oh, you have to move around and also kind of stick to the beat. I just couldn't put that together in my head, and so I played that game very badly. But the fact that I can take my time and strategize and stuff like that in this game made it a lot more appealing. So I'm interested in this one. No release date on it. I think it's supposed to come out sometime this year. But I could see this one being a really solid, like $15 indie title that I am definitely going to give a look-see to when it comes out. So,
All right.
yeah, those were the 4 games for me. If you guys checked out any NextFest demos, I'd certainly be curious to hear about them as well. If you're not a member of our Discord, you can go to densepixels.com/fans to join. We're going to take one more break, and then we'll be back with the post office. All right, so again, if you are a member of our Discord, densepixels.com/fans, you can post in the post office and ask us questions, just like Jace Roke did, who says, for Brad and Micah, I found the show on Netflix called Dragon Age Absolution, based on the game. Have you seen it? And what are your thoughts? And for another question, how do you rank the games in the series? Even though this may have been addressed previously. This is a Micah question. I've only dabbled in Dragon Age. Micah is Mr. Dragon Age, so I will let him take this one.
I've heard of it. I meant to watch it, and life found a way to not let me do that. But because you reminded me of it, and I'm getting ready to go somewhere that's kind of boring, I'm going to watch it. In terms of ranking the games, I'm going to leave all the mobile games out. There are like 3 or 4 mobile games that don't count for me. It's a 2-person race between 3 games. Dragon Age 2 is just like at the bottom. I don't really care for Dragon Age 2. Even though it kind of laid the building blocks for Dragon Age Inquisition, which I actually really enjoyed. So it's between Dragon Age Inquisition and Dragon Age Origins. And I'm a character person. I like very, very interesting characters, and I think Dragon Age Origins beats out Dragon Age Inquisition because I enjoy the combat a little more, especially on PC. Like, it's very rare that I pick up a PC game, but when I saw the turn-based, 10,000-foot view of combat that the PC version of Dragon Age Origins provides, I absolutely fell in love with it all over again. And their characters are right up there with like legendary Mass Effect characters for me. I love those characters. And you get to see them. You get to see a couple of them in Dragon Age Inquisition, which is a game I really enjoy. You know what I mean? Like I went back and I got a platinum in that game because I didn't do it the first time, right? Like, that's how much I really enjoyed that game. But I think Dragon Age Origins, and look, it might be nostalgia, but I think Dragon Age Origins kind of beats out Dragon Age Inquisition. If you've never played Origins, do yourself a favor. It's gotta be dirt cheap by now, right? Like,
I think it is all the time. Yeah,
yeah.
And if it's not, it goes on sale constantly. So,
right, you can get that game for like $5 at this point.
Yeah, Dragon Age for me is that series that I always say to myself, like, all right, this is the year that I'm finally going to sit down and power through this, and I never fucking do. I own Inquisition on 3 different platforms, and I just can't find the time to fucking do it. It drives me insane. T-Wash asks, who are your favorite comedic duo? I've been watching old skits of Booker T and Goldust, and they're hilarious. I'm assuming he means wrestling comedic duos.
Um,
For me, I would say that just because they pulled this run out of nowhere and it was gold every week. When Kevin Owens and Chris Jericho were running together for several months, because that was also the List of Jericho era, which that like I said, that gimmick had no right to be as entertaining as it was.
that's pretty funny. I find most wrestling comedy to be very cringy. Like it's funny, but it's not like, oh my god, like I can't wait to see what these two say next. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Um, I if it's not like the bushwhackers licking people's faces or you know, Big Kaz and Enzo Amore being raging stereotypes. Um, no, you know what? When the Miz and Damian Sandow
Yes.
were doing the stunt double thing, that was fucking hysterical. That was really really good.
Yes, that is definitely fucking up there. Like, and again, because Damian Sandow was amazing at that. Like, he just
Yeah,
fucking leaned all the way into
he
it. It's great, very very good. Let's see here. I'm gonna save the Persona question for next week when Carrie is back, because she will be more equipped to answer that. Cam says Tokyo Vice, aka the best show on TV right now, has me wanting to give the Yakuza series another chance. I played the very first one when it came out, but nothing since. Can I just start with Yakuza 0 and move on to 6 and Like a Dragon after that? Or should I bother with 4 and 5 as well?
I didn't play 3, 4, and 5, so I played 0, 1, 2, 6, 7, and now 8. Um, you could play those and probably get everything you need
Yeah.
out of Yakuza 8, but these games are long, man.
Yeah.
They're long and it's a lot of reading. So you know, just be warned. Like you're not gonna plow through them.
I also heard that 4 especially was weird. It's very different than the other ones in the main in the first run series. So, something to keep in mind as well. Mad Coco G says, with Kojima announcing the name of his new tactical espionage real life action adventure game, he's never beating those pretentious allegations, is he? Did you hear his explanation for why he wants to get back into tactical espionage action?
No, I didn't.
Because he just turned 60 and he had the realization that people die, Micah. And so before he dies, he wants to make sure that he gives the fans what they've been asking him for since Metal Gear Solid 5 and return to the genre that made him what he is today.
Okay.
So because of that, we will get a new tactical espionage action game, which I will be more interested in than anything he's put out. Even though I gotta tell you, I'm a little ashamed to admit it. Watch the trailer for Death Stranding 2, and I was like,
yeah.
I don't know what the fuck is going on, but I'm intrigued. He's piqued my interest with his insanity.
Oh my god.
I still intend to go back and play the first one at some point.
I was about to say, are you intrigued enough to go back and play the first one?
I've been intrigued enough to go back and play the first one because apparently it works like phenomenally on the Steam Deck. Like it's a fantastic Steam Deck game. So yeah, I might. And I own it because it was free on either on Epic Games or on Humble. I can't remember. I got it for free somehow. So
All right. If you go back and play that game, you are the only person, literally the only
who
person
can convince
that
you
I
to
would
play
trust. Yes, whose opinion I would trust about a Hideo Kojima game. If you go back and say, Micah, you need to play this game, then I'll do it. And regarding the question, no, he's never going to get rid of the pretentious stereotype or thing that he has
Hmm.
air about him. And at the same time, I'm gonna play the shit out of the spy game, man. I just
It
am.
logically in my head, I know he's 60 years old, but since he's looked the same for the last 30 years, like it still fucking blows my mind that he's as old as he is, and yet I'm also somehow surprised he's not older. I forget that he really made his mark on the industry when he was in his 20s, which which
Yeah,
is kind of nuts to think about. So
yeah. This might come off racist. I don't mean to, but Asian people don't age until they do, and like they age till adulthood. They stay there for 40 to 50 years, and then bam, it just all hits them at the
yeah,
same time.
look, I'm not gonna say the common turn of phrase that people say when it comes to the
Not
aging of Asian
mellowing.
people. Yes, I'm not gonna say that, but everyone knows what it is. Everyone's heard it. So Courtney says, I finally decided to get PlayStation Plus, and one of the first games I downloaded was Kingdoms of Amalur Reckoning because I never played it before. You guys always spoke very favorably of it, and I love it. First question to me, did you ever get around to finishing it? Second question, do you have any tips for me? I've done my best just to play it without looking at any online guides. To my great shame, I've still not finished Kingdoms of Amalur Reckoning or Re-Reckoning. It again is one of those games that just kind of hangs like it's like the fucking State Farm commercial with the dude with like the fishing pole with the dollar. I was like, oh, gotta be quicker than that. You almost got it. I just can't. And because Hardy is such a big game. Like it's such a huge game. Like even if you fucking try to mainline it, it's still enormous. To its credit. Tips for playing it? Yeah, I've got some Kingdoms of Amalur tips. The faction side quests are very robust. The other side quests are hit or miss. I don't unless you're the type to have to check off everything on a map. I think you can avoid a lot of the additional side quests because usually they just give you XP and gold and not anything item wise that's too crazy. I'll also tell you the way that I play that game is like I finished the map in sections. Like I would try to do all the stuff that I wanted to do in a section of the map before moving to the next section because a lot of the quests progress across multiple regions. So like there's kind of natural breathing points for them. And the third thing I'll tell you is the game makes respecking like the game wants you to respec and experiment with different builds and different abilities. So don't be afraid to do that. Like don't feel pressured to be locked into a specific build. Like if you see some cool shit in another skill tree that you're looking at, spec in like hit that respec and spec into some new shit. Just make sure that you have some items that'll support your new class. When you respec into it. But it's kind of like a Diablo game that it really wants you to experiment with different playstyles to see what you like the best. Like I tried every weapon and found like two or three that I really stuck with in that game. It's a great game. Like I said, it feels like more people know about it now than did back then with that re-release that came out. So that makes me very happy. Film Wanderer says Super Bowl style question. Who are the Kansas City Chiefs in the gaming industry in terms of sustained success in development? And who are the 49ers in the industry in terms of coming up short in their current 90s Buffalo Bills-esque modern era run? 5-0 in Super Bowls from 82 to 94, and now 0-3 in their last three Super Bowls. And of course, the Bills went to 4 consecutive Super Bowls and lost every single one of them. I was thinking about this question earlier today. I think that undoubtedly the Chiefs of the gaming industry is From Software. I don't think that's a particularly arguable point at this point.
Yeah, because yeah, I was thinking a little more broad, but I was thinking of like Nintendo in
Mm-hmm.
terms that like they, you know, every year they come out with something that is amazing despite any limitations that they might have,
Mm-hmm.
they find a way to win, to like put out a game that could be a game of the year contention.
Mm-hmm.
I do like the FromSoft analogy though.
I think they did the most rare thing that you could see in video games. They took a niche genre of game, somehow managed to popularize it and take it mainstream without pissing off the people that got them to where they are today. Like the fact that Elden Ring came out and was as critically praised and sold as well as it did is remarkable to me. And they kept their core fan base intact. And then they came out with a fucking Armored Core game that that sold like 2 million copies and was like a Game of the Year contender.
Yeah. Now that you explain it,
Yeah.
I actually like that. I like that analogy.
Yeah.
I think it fits.
Now I also have the perfect 49ers pick, and it works perfectly because this was a studio that dominated that back in their heyday, but has struggled to find the same ultimate success. Like they're the studio that seems to always get the ball, to use a football analogy, that gets the ball in the red zone and then fumbles as they're trying to score, and that's Blizzard. like Blizzard is that company now where they used to everything they touch turned to gold, and now like 90% of the game, like the products they put out are there, but there's always that 10% that just like either they change Overwatch to make it a 5v5 game, or they fuck up the season launch of Diablo 4 and the way the loot works and stuff like that. Like there's always something that Blizzard does nowadays that just kind of sends them astray and keeps them from winning the big game. I mean, I guess they're still winning because they're making a shitload of money, but like you know what I mean. Like in terms of the prestige amongst gamers, I feel like that they they get almost there, kind of like the Bills, kind of like the 49ers, but they just can't quite get it across the line nowadays.
Yeah, I guess that could work for the Cowboys too, right? Like, like
Yeah.
you resting on your laurels, right?
Yeah.
From 30 years ago, and yeah, fuck the Cowboys. If you're from Maryland and you're a Cowboys fan, you're fucking weird, man.
I mean, I don't know if that's true because remember we did have a team for a long time, so there was a lot of Marylanders who just kind of glommed onto whatever team. And then when the Ravens came around, they didn't want to break that loyalty. So,
nah, yo, if you really wanted to rep, you could have been a Commanders fan back in the day. You just didn't want to, they just stunk too. So so you wanted to root for a winner.
I know a lot of people who were Eagles fans who grew up.
My father was an Eagles fan.
Yeah,
for some strange fucking reason. He's from DC. he was an Eagles fan before the Ravens game. Like, what the fuck? I know why. Because Randall Cunningham. That's why.
Oh, okay.
But
so Doug Campbell couldn't sway him.
Right? Yeah. No, apparently not. The college football game.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Did Randall Cunningham have a black college football game that he was on the cover of? I don't think so. Dude, Randall Cunningham used to be the shit back in the day. People don't remember, but he was the proto Lamar Jackson. Randall Cunningham was.
Yeah. We used to be a Randall Cunningham house, and not an Eagles house, a Randall Cunningham house. Because he didn't really give a shit. He just wanted to see black people do something good. So, yeah, it's an interesting question.
Yeah. So great questions this week, gang. Again, don't forget to join the Discord, deadspixels.com/fans. Make sure you subscribe to us either on YouTube or on wherever you get fine podcasts. And of course, sign up for premium content by going to deadspixels.com/premium. It's just $5 a month or $50 for 1 whole year. That's it for this week. Thank you guys very much for watching and listening, and we'll see you all the next time.
Doug Williams, not Doug Campbell. Before anybody,
did I say Doug Campbell?
Yes.
Yes. Why did I think it was fucking Doug Campbell?
I was like, wait a minute, it's not Doug Campbell, but I can't remember.
Where did Campbell even come into that?
Well, you obviously, and I could see how you could get these two confused.
Mm-hmm.
You got Doug Williams and Bruce Campbell confused.
Look, I to all you BCFX fans out there, I wholeheartedly apologize. God, I remember, and I don't care that we're going long. I remember. Do you remember when we worked at the gallery and that black college football game with Doug Williams coming out, and we had one customer who was like fucking stoked as shit about that game. He could not be more excited, and he finally got it when the game came out. And that dude was back the very next day and traded it in. It broke my heart. It broke my heart, but I could have told him.
Like,
but
yeah, man. Like that's how desperate we are for representation. Like, we will support anything, but God,
it had
damn,
a
but
it
you
had
gotta
a
have
it,
standards.
it had a drumline minigame for the halftime show. See you next week. You're watching the Dense Pixels YouTube channel. Click the subscribe button while you're here and make sure you check out our weekly podcast where we discuss the latest gaming news and our impressions on what games we've been playing.